This is the fourth Christmas in Ukraine since the full-scale Russian invasion. Vladimir Putin has refused to agree to a Christmas ceasefire. Thousands of husbands, fathers, and brothers will spend these days in the trenches among their comrades. The only thing they can hope for is a brief phone call with their loved ones. Hi, have you started dinner yet? Have you gotten any presents? This Christmas is difficult not only because of the long separation. We celebrate by candlelight, like in the old days. The Russians' tactic is simple: to sow terror among Ukrainian civilians and break their fighting spirit. This is achieved by attacking apartment buildings, kindergartens, and energy infrastructure. The power has already been cut off for the second time today. There has been no power since 3 p.m. Earlier, there was no power from 5 a.m. to 12 p.m., and it's like this every day. The shadow of war falls even hundreds of kilometers from the front line. Putin's soldiers are doing everything they can to ensure that Ukrainians never forget the nightmare, even for a moment. This was the case in Kiev on Christmas Day, among other places. Friends, this is an air raid alarm. The alarm sirens wailed as a crowd of Ukrainians gathered in the center of Kiev to sing Christmas carols in traditional costumes and march through the streets of the city. Russian drones failed to scare them away. The return to Christian traditions is seen here as opposition to Soviet atheist propaganda. I think that restoring our traditions is also a form of fighting the occupier. They want to trample on our traditions. These days, every collective demonstration is also an opportunity to show gratitude to the soldiers fighting, those who spent Christmas in the trenches, and those who will never sit at the Christmas table again. I am carrying this star in memory of a fallen soldier, my friend's brother. This year, once again, Ukrainians have one wish above all others. First of all, I wish us victory as soon as possible so that we can move on with our lives, so that our Ukraine can develop, and so that all people can be happy in their country, without war, of course. Victory is still a long way off, but the chances for peace seem much greater than a year ago. An agreement between Ukraine and the U.S. is nearing completion. On Sunday, President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to meet with the American leader at Donald Trump's residence in Mar-a-Lago. From what I can see, some documents are almost ready, and others are already fully prepared. Of course, we still have to work on sensitive issues, but together with the American team, we know how to implement all of this. The coming weeks may be intense. Among other things, the recent conversation between Polish President Karol Nawrocki and U.S. President Donald Trump was devoted to progress in the peace negotiations. This confirms the good cooperation between the U.S. and Poland. Donald Trump continues to completely exclude Donald Tusk from any talks with the White House, so Karol Nawrocki is to be the narrator of what is happening between Poland and the United States. This is important because the United States is the best remedy for the Kremlin's imperialist appetite. The authorities in Kiev are well aware of this and see the U.S. as the best guarantor of future peace. Perhaps there will be a breakthrough near Miami at the end of the year. What can we expect? Zelensky wants to meet with Trump to present the agreed elements of the Ukrainian, European, and American sides. But now the ball is in Putin's court. And here's the problem. For several months, Vladimir Putin has been playing for time, saying on the one hand that he is interested in peace, and on the other hand, torpedoing any constructive proposals. That is why the mood in Ukraine is still far from optimistic. Unfortunately, there is little hope for change. My husband and brother are serving in the army, and we hope that the situation will turn out in our favor. We don't want to give up any territory. And this is precisely what Russia is demanding: international recognition of the conquered Ukrainian territories. Ukrainians, especially those who have been shedding blood on the front lines for many months, do not want to hear about such a scenario. Of course I want peace, that's clear, but I want peace on Ukraine's terms. Over the past 4 years, we have proven that we deserve victory. However, we know that it will not come quickly. That is why we will continue to fight. even if that fight means more empty seats at Christmas tables next year.